Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbies and Kens, Chelseas of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and with me I have my wonderful co-host. As a gamer who is better than all the rest, there's a new game we'd like you to beta test. John!
So, does that make me the gamer or the game?
Yes.
¿Por qué no los dos?
No comprende, senorita.
For those of you just joining us, we are a podcast about Barbie movies. Each week we watch one of the straight-to-DVD animated Barbie movies, and we rate its story, characters, animation, voice acting, and music to see how it stacks up. This week we will be talking about the 35th animated Barbie movie, Barbie Video Game Hero.
This is the last one until the Netflix era, correct?
Okay, so yes, the Dolphin Magic is on Netflix currently, but that was made in 2017, and then they took, I believe, a 2 or 3 year break. And then we get into... But yeah, I think this one was the last... I don't know. I'll have to look that up again. Either this one or the next one was the last one to be released by Universal on DVD.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of the end of an era here, coming up soon. Okay, yeah, this is according to the Barbie movie wiki. This is the last one to air on television in the U.S. And then all of the upcoming movies are distributed by Netflix. Though there is a break between Dolphin Magic and the one following it of a few years. But yeah, this was released January 31st, 2017. And it is directed by both Ezekiel Norton and Conrad Helton. This is the final of 5 Barbie movies directed by Ezekiel Norton. He's the third most prolific Barbie director after Conrad Helton and William Lau, who we haven't heard of from him in a while, but he did a lot of the early Barbie movies. And yeah, Ezekiel Norton, he started out on Princess Charm School. He also did Pearl Princess. So, a few good ones in there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's written by Nina G. Bargiel, who she also wrote for Lizzie McGuire and Bill and Mandy, the TV shows.
Yeah.
And then we have art direction by Patricia Atchison and score by Rebecca Newell, who, in this one, she's not working with Gabriel Mann on this or any... She did a few more Barbie movies, but no, he didn't do any more. But they continued to work on other projects together, so they haven't split up creatively. And yeah, Spy Squad was Gabriel Mann's final Barbie movie, which we didn't mention, but they've been composers on quite a few of these. And I just realized I never introduced our guest. With us here to discuss this movie is a returning guest, my sister Emma.
Hello.
Well, certified gamer.
Sure.
So yeah, let's dive into this. The story this time around is that Barbie is a game designer, and she's having trouble with one of the levels she's designing. And her tablet starts making weird noises. So she picks it up and sees Cutie, who's a video game tutorial mascot, who invites her to beta test a new game. And Barbie accepts and gets sucked into the tablet. This is never really explained how this is possible, but it works. And turns out that this game is being corrupted by the emoji virus. And the only way Barbie could save it is by beating all the levels. Yeah, it's a bit odd.
Did she beat the last one? Well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to it. She progresses through the levels, and there are various NPCs that join her, and they're all running away from the virus. And then After beating the second level, Barbie unlocks a bonus level, which she goes in and it's like this racing game that's being taken over by the virus, and Barbie is unable to beat the game and save the NPCs. And this is when Cutie reveals that he was actually the one who created the virus on accident because he was lonely. And so he brought Barbie in to clean up his mess. So Barbie moves into the third level and she gets, it's like a Minecraft looking level. And there's a block that can multiply. So she uses that to make her own shortcuts in the racing game and is now able to beat it and save the NPCs. And then the viruses show up at the third level and like all clomb together to this giant ball. But Barbie is able to program an antivirus that eliminates most of them, but then more show up. Not sure what's going on at this point, computer programming wise, but Barbie then programs in a game of Just Dance, and her and the NPCs have a dance off against the virus. And Barbie wins, and the virus returns back to normal, and then Barbie leaves.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and in the real world, the button on this is that Barbie finally is able to reprogram her level.
Well, she didn't really have to reprogram anything because it's just
Yeah, I guess I don't know what.
because it just stopped working
Yeah,
because of the virus, and then the virus was destroyed, so she got back to it.
how was the virus connected to her computer? I don't know. The computer science behind this is a little bit shaky.
Yeah, video games aren't really affected by viruses. They're affected by broken code and glitches.
Yeah. And apparently tutorials that are lonely.
I mean, maybe it
Chip-
was that the emojis were just spawning in so much that it crashed all the games because there are too many objects on scene.
Oh.
Maybe.
Too much render power, yeah.
Yeah, the computer science behind this whole endeavor is a little bit odd.
Why are the levels just different video games?
Yeah, this is like if Barbie was going to be dropped into a video game, why couldn't she have chosen a better game? Like this is just like as you said, each level is like entirely different. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I just don't care.
Yeah, each level is entirely different, and they're all like based on mobile games. Like we have the Subway Surfer level, we have the Candy Crush / Angry Birds level.
You have another racing level that's kind of Sonic-y. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit. Not Sonic
Mario
enough.
Kart,
Almost, but
almost.
not enough.
It's just another racing level.
Yeah.
Then you got knockoff Minecraft with no objective whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know why, because it seems like Cutie got to choose which levels, because there's no way this is one game.
Yeah.
So if he got to choose which levels, why would he choose a Minecraft one with no clear end goal for the last one?
Honestly, I just think this was like an attempt to like, hey, what games are popular right now with the
At least they did the research on that. Most shows that do this don't do that.
Yeah. But you could have had like, what if they're stuck on Barbie's computer and like she's going into different games rather than one game that has 3 very, very disconnected levels.
And then you got straight up Just Dance in there somewhere.
Yeah, how did she code in Just Dance? Not a dancing game, Just Dance.
With the logo and everything.
Into Minecraft. Yeah. The coding, even the way they do it, it's not like writing out lines of code. It's like they're
Well, I was curious about that because I wonder if there is some kind of program for kids to code that looks similar to that.
that would be my guess. I would assume, because that is when there are like beginner coding things where it's like you're dragging and dropping
Uh huh.
phrases into a thing to lower the complexity, which doesn't say much about Barbie's skills as a coder.
Uh huh.
That she's 17 and still using these things. It's interesting. I was doing a bit of research, and apparently in 2010 Mattel released a book of like, well, it was like a series of books, and one of them was like Barbie as a computer engineer. And a few years later it went viral because one of the lines in the book is that like Barbie is apparently this computer engineer, but she's like, I do all of the designing, and then my friends Steve and Eric do all of the coding. So people were pointing out, if Barbie, that's kind of reinforcing some misogynist stereotypes about women who code. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if part of the motivation behind this movie is Mattel being like, no, 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 we weren't trying to be. But then the way they depict coding and programming here is just so unrealistic that I think it ends up circling back around to be like, oh, this isn't the greatest.
It's really just the problem with this genre of story of entering the video game world. There's not much you can do with it besides there's the villain of the game you can beat, there's a virus in the game you have to beat, there's yourself you gotta beat.
I mean, there are interesting stuck in a computer movies out there. Like that's The
Eh,
Matrix.
eh,
That
it's
is literally the plot of The Matrix.
yeah, but it's less
But
stuck in a game.
yeah, it's a computer world that is designed for people to be stuck in.
Yeah, it's
Whereas
less of a
this
video
is,
game.
yeah. And then even like Tron, which I don't think has the best story, but there's still like, I don't know. It feels abstract enough that you don't question the nature of the world as it's going on. Whereas here, they're talking about programming and NPCs and all of these things. So I don't know. It's
My
Also,
head,
Tron was trying to create a world itself in the digital world.
yeah.
my headcanon for this is that there's some kind of no code game engine thing that they're using to make these games.
Oh, okay.
And that's what Barbie was using for her game, and then Cutie pulled from that in order to
Like a
like there's a I forget what it's called, but on the Nintendo Switch there's a game whatever.
yeah. So like a game builder type thing that is
Uh-huh.
also, or even like a
It's very
Mario
very
Maker type.
visual. Yeah, very
Or
visual. You can
I
make
think
your own games on it.
Roblox that is like that,
I don't know.
where you can make your own sort of levels in it.
Uh-huh. But like a no code version where it's more visual.
Yeah.
That's what the code looked like. And they went through 5 different games or whatever, and
Yeah, that would make sense. That would actually, I wish they had called that out if that was what they were going for. Because then it would be a little bit smarter.
Mm.
Because it's like there are things in here where it's like, okay, the writer and the creators know a little bit of what they're talking about here. But it's not enough for any of the science to make sense. So yeah, I really like your idea of like that it's not an actual game, it's a built game.
uh-huh. And that's why Cutie is still consistent. It's because it's one of
Yeah.
those low code things. So
Yeah.
you just have the same assets and stuff.
that makes me like the story a bit more if that's the case. I still don't know how they got Just Dance in, but I guess that could be like a pre-programmed module or something.
It's a DLC.
And if you look at like even just the one on Nintendo Switch, I wish I remembered what it was called. People can make really cool stuff on there, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, even Minecraft with Redstone, you can do a lot of complex stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that makes me think the creators maybe deserve a little more credit if that was what they were going for. I do kind of wish, though, again, that like the games they chose to emulate are like mobile games. Like where's our top-down RPG? Where's our
First-person shooter.
first-person shooter? Where's our 2D platformer? Like these are no-brainer things. The first-person shooter is one where I'm like, okay, I could understand why they don't want
Paintball.
Barbie Call of Duty.
Yeah, but they
Even
could have
the
done like
image,
a Splatoon
yeah.
thing though.
Even the image of Barbie holding a gun, even if it's a paint gun or a paintball
But they
gun.
had the one guy with the tape cut.
That's
She had
like,
a gun in the end.
yes. I think that's abstract enough that they were able to get away with it.
We'll
But,
do
like,
that first-person shooter with cupcakes.
Yeah. And then
I wish that the Candy Crush level was more of a focus on the puzzle though.
or even a better puzzle game than Candy
Or a better
Crush.
puzzle game than Candy Crush, yeah.
Rhythm games, I guess they have Just Dance.
Yeah.
But more interesting references than just here's a couple mobile games. And even like references to video game history.
Well, that's a lot. They do a Resident Evil section. They do a Street Fighter section.
You were almost a Barbie sandwich.
Yes.
Even just like references to video game things, like a winner is you. That would have been so easy to just
The
like
cake is a lie.
find and replace line Barbie wins with a winner is Barbie.
What's that from?
I don't know what it's from. It's a mistranslated line.
Oh, okay.
It's like the all your base are belong to us. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish like you have one writer, hire a second writer who just happens to be like super into video games, or like someone who's written for video games.
Yes, because part of this still feels like the 2000s. That's when they had this genre the most.
Yeah.
I'm noticing that this writer was mostly for shows of the 2000s,
Yeah.
where they still didn't quite understand internet technology and gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they looked up on the Apple Store what games there are and didn't even realize that consoles existed.
Yeah, because Minecraft is almost more common as a mobile game than as a, I guess,
Pocket
especially than as a
Minecraft, yeah.
concept, yeah, or console, not concept.
Close enough.
But yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because what's the top games on the Apple Store in 2015 when they're planning this movie? It's probably
Candy
Minecraft,
Crush.
Subway Surfer, and Candy Crush. So
I wouldn't be surprised if those are still pretty near the top.
yeah, and that is sort of a testament to like,
Where's our Pokemon Go?
How do you translate that into playing inside the game, though?
Just regular Pokemon.
yeah, Pokemon. You could do it like I was saying. Where's our top-down RPG? Yeah, it's. I do think, for all its faults, the plot mostly works. Like it's a bit of a riff on the Lego movie where there's a bunch of different worlds with unique characters and unique styles, and then they're all kind of going on this big adventure. It reminded me also of Infinity Train, where it's like, in that one, and it's a much better show than this is a movie, but it's like each episode is a contained. You go to one car on this train, and it's like, oh, this is the town where everyone is a dog,
Hmm.
and they solve whatever problem happens in the town. Actually, I think it was turtles. I don't remember. Town where everyone is some kind of animal, and then they solve the problem and
Dogs.
move on to the next train.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and then occasionally pick up characters along the way. And I like those kinds of stories because you can get a lot of different. You can get a lot of variety in that. You can play with genre and play with character tropes and have things that wouldn't normally play off of each other play off of each other.
Hmm.
Like you can get the NPC opponents from a racing game fighting the angry squirrels. I don't know. And even like the balance of characters I think felt good. Where it never felt like there were any characters that, and it helps that most of the characters are NPCs that are very flat, so you don't have to worry too much about giving them arcs or anything. But where some of these movies it's felt like, oh, there was one or two characters that just had absolutely nothing to do or disappeared or whatever. And I even found like, even though the Just Dance section is like silly, I did find it to be like an interesting way of ending the story. Even if it doesn't make any sense from like a programming or
Yeah, I feel like basically it was okay, I guess, but there was so much more they could have done with it.
yeah. I would say, and John, I don't know how you feel about this, that this is a lot better than a lot of these sort of, because we've talked about how the last quite a few Barbie movies has been like the things that kids TV shows, there's always an episode of this, there's always an
Hmm.
episode where they go to space, there's always an episode where they become spies, there's always an episode where they become superheroes, and this is there's always an episode where they go into a video game. And I felt like this was handled a lot better than a lot of those are. But yeah, still not necessarily great.
I don't know. It's just it feels exactly the same as every other episode.
Okay.
I'd probably put this in the same level as Princess Power. I might prefer Princess Power.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. I just really don't like these video game episodes. I never liked them. They were never interesting to me.
Yeah. I'll have to rewatch the Phineas and Ferb video game episode. Because that one is actually like a 2D platformer. Yeah. This is also, it's all building towards a Just Dance commercial. Like they're not even trying to hide that it's a Just Dance commercial. I kind of wish the product placement weren't as blatant, but yeah, I guess I don't know. So yeah, I gave the story a 3.75 out of 5. I thought it was better than average, but not much. Usually we have 3.5 is our average. So yeah,
I gave it a 2.8.
And I gave it a 2.
so yep. As is often the case, I have given it the highest score. I don't know. I'd rewatch this one.
I don't think I would.
I'd sooner watch the puppy one than this one.
Which
I think
puppy
this is
one? Both of
uh
them?
I think this is my new worst one.
Okay. I wonder if because we've been binging these Barbie movies over the last week. This is our 8th episode that we've recorded. 7 of which were Barbie. So I wonder if that might be factoring in a bit as well. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it's factoring in opposite ways for us. where you're giving these lower scores than you normally would, and I'm giving these higher scores than I normally would?
I don't know.
Because I'm like, with each of these, I'm like latching onto whatever makes this one different, and I'm going, okay, I like this. Let's ignore the everything else. I like the part that I like. You just seem to be over it.
I mean, it's a good case study. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, we'll have to do a scientific analysis. But anyway, on to the characters. We have Barbie,
Mm-hmm.
who is about as standard issue a Barbie hero as we've seen. I like the moment where she fails to beat the bonus level and has to double back, because it shows both growth, and it kind of shows that even though she had the line earlier about, no, you got to play the game as intended, she's actually, that's not really what she thinks, because she has to go back and break the game to. But yeah, I like that she's into coding, but I wish they had gone the extra mile and actually showed accurate coding, or at
Yeah.
least more accurate than what this is. Like, even if she's playing like one of those design your own games, why can't she just be making her own game?
Well, I do understand if they want it to be accessible for kids,
Yeah.
then that's a good way to get into coding because it teaches you the logic before you have to learn the language.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair. I wish they had gone a little bit further.
or at least if they had gone a bit more into the coding, because it seemed like they had the same animation whenever anyone was coding.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
a
they
good
made it make
point.
sense.
So yeah, next up on our character list we have Cutie.
Yeah,
He's the tutorial that nobody watches.
Yep, that's accurate to how I play. Is that accurate to how you both play?
yeah. I
Well,
watch
I don't
YouTube
know.
tutorials. If I watch tutorials, I don't look at the in-game ones.
It's been a long time since a tutorial character has been a thing, so
True.
Yeah, usually it's just a text box that over explains what press A to jump. When you reach a cliff and you need to jump over it, press the A button. Thanks, you could have just said press A to jump.
yeah, nowadays it's much more seamless.
Yeah. I honestly always skip. I just like skip through things, and then I get 20 minutes in and then I'm like, how do I do this? If only the game had told me 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I do feel bad for him in that sense of like, oh yeah, everyone just kind of skips over him and doesn't pay attention to him. But I wonder, so this is the what, third Barbie movie in a row without a villain?
Um,
I mean, the virus is kind of a villain, but
they really are the villain.
yeah.
But it's not like an intelligent mind villain, basically.
Yeah. I do kind of wish that they had, rather than Cutie being like, oh, he accidentally made the virus, what if he had intentionally made it? I think that might have been slightly more interesting. I don't think it solves any
But
of the issues with the story, but
it's still like a cliche plot line.
it is.
I don't know. I think he was fine as he was.
Yeah. It would have added some dramatic tension that was maybe missing.
Probably, yeah.
Next up, we have Bella.
I don't know. None of the NPCs really stood out to me. I didn't really like any of them, so.
Yeah, she has good chemistry with Barbie, I think. I like the moment when she shows up to help out in the bonus level.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's not much to any of these NPC characters. Next we have Chris, who in my headcanon is gay. Of course. I'm gonna make a definitive list of all of the characters I've said this about. Because it's like at this point like 24.
I'm just glad he
Sure.
wasn't the love interest.
Yes. He would have been a bad love interest. I love his dynamic with Bella.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're just kind of I'd watch more of them just interacting and hopping through different video game worlds. They had a fun dynamic. Again, not the most memorable characters, but they have a neat bit where they don't know what a team is.
All I know is that he's gonna be the god of this new world.
How so?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, I'm curious about this. So next up we have Crystal, who's the girl from the Candy Crush level.
That for some reason is super short in other worlds, even though people changed to be her size when they went into her world.
Yeah. I guess it's keeping with the sort of like chibi style.
Candy Crush. Yeah.
But yeah, she's probably the most forgettable of the NPCs. Because she doesn't do anything.
Except be scared of heights.
Yeah. I didn't mind her being in the movie, but she didn't add a ton. And then we have Maya and Gaia, who are there's a bit more complexity to them because they're programmed to always win. And since they're computer programs, they can't just break their programming.
Well, I was a bit confused about that because it says they're programmed to win, and yet the first race with Barbie, one of them turned around to help the other who had fallen.
Yes, but they still won the race.
So,
which is...
well, yeah, but that seems like in order to win, you wouldn't turn around and help someone, right?
Yeah, I don't know where they were going with that.
Yeah,
beyond just like an obstacle that Barbie needs to cheat to win.
Yeah, because Barbie did get ahead of them because of that. So
yeah, I don't know.
I was just thinking there would be more with that, but then they kind of just left it.
Yeah, they're all of these characters serve a very specific function and then don't have much to them beyond that function. So like these are the characters where you have to have the like they're programmed to win, so Barbie has to fail. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I none of these characters were bad.
No, and it's kind of a crutch for them because they're NPCs. They don't have to be as developed.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I didn't mind most of the characters, and I like the dynamic between Bella and Chris. So I gave the characters a 3.75 out of 5.
I gave the characters a 3.
And I gave them a 2.
So next up we have the animation. And for this one we're going to dive into some animation history. You ready?
Here we go.
So,
Brace yourselves.
yep. So the usual frame rate for movies is 24 frames per second. And that's where each frame is a still image, and when you play them that quickly in sequence, it makes it look like it's moving. For a very long time, though, animated movies would do things differently because what animators discovered is that you could still maintain the illusion of motion without doing the full 24 frames a second. So what they would do is instead of, drawing 24 individual images for every second of the movie they're making, they would double or even triple the frames. So you draw it, then that's 2 frames, and then you draw the next one, that's 2 frames. So you're essentially doing 12 frames per second. And it saves on cost, it saves on time. And in Western animation, that was the standard for quite a while. Anime tends to animate on threes, so that's 3 frames, and then you draw a new one. Um, Western animation is animates on twos, so that's 2 frames, and you can vary that. Um, and there will often like different types of movement, like action scenes will be animated on one, so you get a smoother motion. And then dialogue scenes you can animate on threes because you don't need as smooth motion. um, so yeah, but all of this changed with the sort of propagation of CGI animation, because computers make it very, very easy to animate on ones. Because rather than drawing each individual frame, you can now draw the keyframes and have the computer fill in the details. I guess you don't draw it, you create the frame. So, for a while, pretty much all CGI animation was animated on ones with the full 24 frames per second. Now, this movie actually has a bunch of different frame rates throughout the movie. And this is first introduced when Barbie goes into the first animated world. And
Mm-hmm.
you probably both saw it, where the animation suddenly gets very, very choppy.
Yeah.
Which is what you want in video games.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What they are doing, because this is intentional, as we just went through, it's very easy in computer animation to animate on ones, to have that smooth motion. So what they're doing, this is an intentional artistic decision, almost certainly.
Oh yeah.
And it's, I'm assuming they're going for that anime look, which is animated on three, so it's a bit choppier. But the problem is, A, we're used to CGI being animated on ones, so we notice that choppiness a bit more. B, um, this is a video game world, not an anime world. And so, as Emma said, it does not look good because we're used to video games playing at higher frame rates than what this is played at. So it looks like it's having trouble, like it's buffering and dropping frames because it's having trouble rendering all of the elements in the frame.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it looks fine at certain points, like when the characters aren't moving much. And
It's fine when there's no
yes.
movement.
Well, that is what they will do in anime. Is you animate things on threes very specifically so that it's things that are less movement, less camera movement. But these Barbie movies always have very dynamic movement and very dynamic cameras, and they don't adapt to this new thing. So the camera's moving too quickly, the characters are moving too quickly. It all looks very, very choppy.
Well, I was more thinking, like, obviously the movement doesn't look as choppy if there isn't any movement.
Oh, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Even if like slow movement or characters moving like very little, it can look fine.
So yeah, it looked very out of place, that first world, and I didn't like it. Anytime they went back to that
Oh,
first
yeah.
world, I was like, no!
That first world, anything in that first world is almost impossible to watch once you see what's going
Yeah.
on. Now, I do think though, after that first world, they start to do it a lot better. Where I did notice it some in the second and third sort of levels, but they're doing it more intentionally for like specific characters or specific moments. They'll animate on twos or threes. I think in the Minecraft world, there's even some animation on fours to make the characters look more blocky. And that's something like I was doing some research into this, and two other examples of movies that CGI movies that animate on twos and threes. The Lego movie did that to sort of make it look more like stop motion. So they would double or triple frames. I think I was seeing they would even quadruple frames sometimes.
Mm.
Because of course, what's the name for Lego stop motion?
Stop motion.
There was a specific term for like
Brick motion.
maybe I don't remember what it was, but there was a term for it that's like was very big for a while and still is big. But that's part of how they're simulating that is by animating on twos and threes and fours. And then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse actually does it to show the character growth of Miles Morales, where at the start of the movie he's animated on twos and Peter Parker is animated on ones, and then by the end of the movie, once Miles is more sure of his powers and has more experience, then he's animated on ones.
Yeah, but here I don't really understand the stylistic choice.
Yeah, here I think the first one they were trying to go for that anime style, and it mostly didn't work. And then later
Yeah.
on, I think once they get into the Chibi world and then the Minecraft world, the character models have been changed enough, and it isn't not every element in the world is animated on twos and threes, so it's less choppy. The camera movements aren't quite as noticeable.
I will say that the lighting is pretty disappointing. The
Yeah, there's a lot of flat lighting.
Oh yeah, the only time where I think that the lighting was interesting was when they were in that little portal, but that really killed the bit rate when watching this on a streaming platform.
Oh yeah.
And so it just brought the video quality down. And so it just assuming even then it just was like basic level lighting. Even in the real world when Barbie in the beginning it just looks so uninteresting.
Yeah.
And we could see the weakness of the character models because the lack of the lighting.
Yeah. I would say the time it maybe I don't know. I like the way it works in like the more stylized sections of the movie. The Chibi and the Minecraft world. But yeah, the it definitely does not work for the opening and ending, and the that first level is just rough all around.
Mm-hmm. Oh, especially like the Just Dance like music video at the very end just looked really bad.
Yeah. I do think the design of everything is really creative.
Yeah, I don't love the chibi look for Barbie specifically.
Yeah, I that's the one because they are saying it's 2D, but it's clearly 3D animation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It worked for me. It worked just fine. It's
Right.
different than anything we've seen in any Barbie movie by a very wide margin.
It doesn't make it good though.
I mean, not necessarily. I think it is both different and good, and I give it credit for being different. It's not different and great, but it's different and good enough. The first the like roller skate design I'm not as big a fan of. I think the Minecraft designs are the most interesting because they're the most sort of out of the box.
Yeah.
I wonder now I got to look this up. I wonder if they made what the toys for this movie looked like. If they're all in the different styles or if it's just regular dolls.
I mean, I would think that the chibi and the Minecraft one could be like collectibles versus actual dolls.
Yeah.
And Kristen
Like
never
mystery
had
boxes.
a standard size.
Yeah.
She was always small.
I do like that each of the character has multiple designs throughout the movie. Like we're lucky in other movies if they get multiple costumes, let alone designs and different art styles.
To be fair, they had no background characters in this one to fill.
Yeah, that's true. Which, for the type of mobile game they're going for, makes sense. But yeah, the worlds did feel somewhat empty of characters. Okay, I'm seeing here there's a Barbie car that comes with the Chibi Barbie. There's a doll of Bella in addition to a chibi of Bella. Looks like there's chibis of a lot of the characters. And then standard Barbie doll wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Oh, and it comes with tiny little Minecraft figurines. So yes, all of the different designs here have been made into toys that are commercially available to some extent.
I wonder if this Barbie design was an option for a Just Dance game.
There's apparently the because the song they play is a song that was developed specifically for Just Dance.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there's a Barbie version of the song in like Just Dance 2018 and 19.
Okay.
So there is a connection there. I don't know who made the connection first, if it was Barbie is in Just Dance, let's do a movie about it, or if it was Just Dance like, hey, we want a Barbie movie made about us. But yeah, it is kind of, it's weird to have very blatant product placement that's not Mattel. Because obviously all of these movies are product placement, but any other thoughts on the animation?
No.
Okay. So I gave the animation, again, I think it's creative and different, and I give them points for that creativity, even if the execution isn't always great. So I gave the animation a 4 out of 5.
I gave the animation a 3, and really the 3 is because they're trying to be different. But the basics of lighting and character models, yeah, no, it just wasn't great. Even the animating on 2s didn't work out here.
I also gave it a 3. I thought the animating on 2s was way too jarring.
Yeah.
They had interesting stylistic
Yeah.
choices, and that's what's brought it up, but really I did not like it.
Yeah, I think the opening section is maybe animating on 3s, but yeah, the sort of the in that section it really doesn't work. I would say it works better in other sections, and it ends on a better foot than it starts on, but I can understand why that would throw everyone else off immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, next up we have the voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a ton to say here. Erica Lindbeck, again, she's doing very similar to her previous performances. I think she sounds just fine as Barbie.
My opinion is the same. Great performance. I don't think she sounds like Barbie, though.
Settle this for us, Emma. Does she sound like Barbie?
I didn't notice anything.
Okay. So when you heard her, you neither thought that sounds like Barbie or that does not sound like Barbie.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a tie.
I really don't have a ton to say about most of these vocal performances. We do have, I did look into some of the voice cast here, and we have Brad Swale, who plays Chris, is probably most well known for playing Light Yagami in Death Note.
Which is why he'll be the god of this new world.
Oh, so that's where that came from.
Oh, did you not get that?
No. Well, I got the reference. I just wondered why you said the reference.
And I knew why you would have said the reference, but I didn't get the reference. So if we had combined, we would have known exactly what you were going for. I'll take
Cool.
a potato chip and
eat it.
eat it. Oh, I need to rewatch that show. I feel like that moment is not very indicative of the show, though.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a fun moment. And the rest of the show is decidedly not fun.
Well, that's up to you. Back to Barbie.
Barbie and the Death Note. That's going to be
okay.
our pitch.
That would be very family friendly.
Yeah.
The Life Note.
There we go.
It resurrects people.
Nah. It gives life to inanimate objects.
Ooh, I like this. Well, we'll add it to our roster of Barbie movies we're gonna write for Mattel
Mm-hmm.
when they hire us to be the new Cliff Ruby and Alana Lesser.
Yes, because we're on their same level.
We will be. They started with Swan Lake. There's room for us to grow, John.
Mm.
The Book of Forest Lore. Anyway, I gave the voice acting a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's completely serviceable, but I don't really recall much of the performances.
Yeah, I also give it a 3.5.
I gave it a 4 because I figure if I don't notice anything, that means it's probably good. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of not noticing anything, the music I have no memory of.
the Just Dance song was what I did not like at all. The second,
Chihuahua.
And it's not even the Disney Chihuahua song,
No.
which we did listen to after the movie. Da, 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 da.
I mean, the music perfectly captures the aesthetic of a mobile game.
Yeah.
There you go. It's not bad. I didn't really care for the original songs, but I didn't think they didn't work in the style, so they were there.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Your comment made me think. You could take clips from this movie, put them in portrait, and then do them as those like really bad mobile game ads that like show up on when you like get a free version of a mobile game, and it's like save the princess from the Minotaur by opening the things, and then you look at the game and it's not what the ad says it is.
Yeah.
That's the level that some of this movie is working on. So yeah, I gave the music a 3.5 out of 5. I didn't notice, besides the Just Dance song, much wrong with it.
I also give it a 3.5.
And I gave it a 2 because all I remembered were the bad songs.
Sounds about right.
So before we get into our final score, I did have a question.
Uh-huh.
So this movie has what, 4 video games represented? If you could make your own Barbie video game hero, what 4 video games are you gonna do instead of Subway Surfer, Candy Crush, Subway Surfer again, and Minecraft?
Okay. Well, excluding the racing games, probably the most obvious choice would be doing Mario.
Yeah.
Again, and thinking as like what would kids attach to? Do a Mario,
A Pokemon.
do a Pokemon battle, maybe a Sonic racing thing with loops and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff. And one more, Fortnite.
Oh no. What if this had come out after Fortnite was big? Like, I think Fortnite was around, but imagine if this had been made post Fortnite or post Among Us.
Yeah, Fall Guys.
That might be fun. A Barbie Among Us type
Gary's
thing.
mod. Portal. Oh, Portal would
Portal
be
would
fun.
be fun.
Yeah.
And that could be a way to do a first-person shooter that's not. They almost have Portal with the portals in the tree.
Not quite.
Almost.
Almost.
There's an quote unquote outtake that's really more of like a short scene that just doesn't happen to be connected to anything in the movie, where it's like Barbie and Chelsea are playing the Minecraft thing and using the portals.
Marvel versus Capcom.
Marvel versus Capcom versus Barbie.
Mm. Smash Bros. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they already have the sort of like Smash Bros. Announcer moments.
You just need to get the fighting.
Yeah. The winner is Barbie.
All right. How about you?
I think I wish they had more of a puzzle game. You know, I wish they had got into different genres, like a puzzle, maybe even an MMO, some RPG.
You were saying before tower defense.
Tower defense would have been fun, yeah, like a Plants vs Zombies thing.
Yeah, so some more variety than the top 4 mobile games on the App Store.
How about you, Jay?
I don't know. I think something that like goes through video game history a bit more. So I think Mario you kind of have to do.
Yeah.
Or at least some 2D platformer.
Obligatory. Pong.
Yeah, you could do. You see, another idea Abba suggested yesterday after we watched this was like have a montage of all of the different levels they're going through, where you can do references that don't work as like a 10-minute section, and there you could do Pong.
Slenderman.
that
Five
might,
Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's would have been big at around this time. Well, it's been big for a bit.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
And with the demographic that I guess a bit old, slightly older, but those fads skew a bit young for what the games are.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed. Barbie has to fight for an apple or whatever those games are about.
Hey Bells.
You see that's the kind of reference I want though. That's like Barbie gets on top of a very tall building and jumps into a hay bale.
Metal Gear with a box.
Oh, that would be good. They could totally have done a stealth level. Oh. Now we're just coming up with better ideas. Mattel should hire us to write Barbie Video Game Hero 2.
Anyway,
No
my
game,
total
no
score
life.
is a 15.8, which is 63% and a 3.16 5-star rating.
Yeah, mine is an 18.5% or a 74, which is a 3.7. I like this movie. What can I say? I had fun.
Mine's a 13 or a 52%. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I like this one. It was fine.
I don't.
It's perfectly serviceable as a Barbie
Again,
movie.
I just hate this genre.
Well, anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to follow us on social media. We are Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram, at Binging Barbie on Twitter, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And we will be back next week to talk about Barbie Dolphin Magic.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.